Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Double Pivot Podcast, a part of the Endless Celts Podcast. I have to say, I do quite enjoy that new intro that John made, so fair dues for him to do that. And then there's a couple of new thumbnails and stuff as well. And on a Friday, we go with the away kit. On the Monday, we go with the home kit. And then on a Wednesday, a nice, fresh double pivot look. But I'm joined by, first of all, James. How are you?
I was waiting on the little James there. I thought that was a tapping. I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. I'm a bit tired tonight, but all good. Looking forward to a wee moan again. So, all good.
Okay. Maybe positive, Franny. Do you know what I mean? I seen you on the Monday Moan Club or the Moan Fest, as people were calling it. But actually, I was listening back to it, and it was quite level-headed at some points. I know Jed can fly off the handle a bit like myself, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. You're back on the double pivot tonight. How are you, buddy?
Hi, I'm all good, Stephen. All good. I've got my wee napkin on here, so we're ready to go.
Your napkin. When you jumped on, it looked like to me you were tucking in a wee napkin, like you're eating and you forgot to take it out or something. I don't know. Amply done, fresh look. Even the 420 somewhere, and Michael Ross in the comments as well. But James, we'll get stuck into it before we obviously, move on to transfer business. And people may think that it's hard to do business with the likes of Norwich. Funny enough, today Dundee United signed a defender from Norwich, pretty seamlessly. Hibs managed to sign a striker from Fulham, Kieran Bowie, over 600k. So deals are being done, business is being concluded. But before we come on to our business and how slow we are doing things, let's start with Flag Day. You were at the stadium, I believe. How was it? What was it like for yourself? The tifo looked amazing on TV. As you can see, I'm the armchair fan at the moment, but it looked fantastic. And to be fair, a great victory as well, great performance.
Aye, really good. I couldn't actually see the tifo. Obviously, as we've kind of discussed in the group chat, I've been relocated this season, and I'm kind of right down the front, so I couldn't really see anything. The banners that were kind of on the advertising board, so to wait to get home to see that. But fair play, that must take some organising. It looked cracking, looked really good. Probably up there with the best so far in my opinion, anyway. But the game itself, I thought we were absolutely brilliant. We just took off where we left in pre-season and the friendlies, albeit obviously Kilmarnock playing slightly different, sitting back. But as we'll talk about on here on Friday, I think we were all fairly confident that kind of team sitting in, it tended to be something we struggled with more often than no last season. But I think we were all fairly confident getting into the game at the weekend, having seen us in pre-season. And as I say, we just carried that on. I don't think there was kind of a bad player throughout the team. I thought Hatate was excellent. Scales takes a lot of stick. He was excellent. I could probably get through 1 to 11. Well, they'll say 2 to 11. I don't think Schmeichel had much to do, but really, really, really good. Really impressed. And as I'm sure we come on to discuss, if we can add to that, then it's all guns blazing going forward. Will be a joy to watch.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say as well, like what James said, the victory was great. We carried that performance in from pre-season, the games against Chelsea, City and DC United, and against the low block, the way Kelly played, we still managed to break that down with a one-touch pass and round the corner, dipping in and out and finding them forward runs. And I thought it was quite funny. Derek McKenna said we were lucky and that scoreline flattered us. He's just he's a wee sour patch kid. Let's say I was looking back at the stats today and we had over 32 shots, 16 on target, and like 70% of the possession. Obviously, stats aren't everything, but we came away with the goals and the victory. And like James said, you could go through 1 to 11. We'll pick a few players out, but without going over what you said on Monday, Franny, if you look back on the game again, is there anybody in particular who impressed you, who took that game by the scruff of the neck? For me personally, I thought Rio Hatate was back to his best. I thought he was phenomenal against Kilmarnock.
I said the same on Monday. I thought he was my man of the match, but I think there was a fair argument for guys like O'Reilly, Scales, as James said, Kyogo even. I thought there was Kuhn could be in the mix as well for man of the match. There was a lot of plus points. Not that Schmeichel had much to do, and long may that continue, I guess. But I think you seen his distribution with the ball, that didn't seem a nervousness in and anybody when he actually had the ball at the back, and he was just passing it side to side quite comfortably. And that's no dig at Joe Hart. It's just Joe Hart wasn't that good at that. Joe Hart was a good goalkeeper, but playing it for the back wasn't Joe Hart's forte. But no, Rio Hatate for me, he takes the plaudits for me, Stephen. It's exciting what he can do. I know we'll get on to the Matt O'Reilly transfer, carry on and things like that. It'd be great. Didn't really get to see the free properly last season, like a really good run of that. But fingers crossed. I mean, it's next to no chance that O'Reilly's staying, I don't think. But hopefully, in some form, he does stay, and we manage to keep him, and we go on with the free at least to January anyway. But Derek McInnes's comments were very shit. I appreciate like stats can sort of skew an argument to how you want it to, but when you've got over 30 shots at goal, I think we had about 70% possession. Like you said, Stephen, 16 of these shots on target. I would say they were lucky to get away with a 4-0 victory, 4-0 defeat. They never, as I say, I credited Celtic as well, but they never ever made a fist of the game. Just didn't try and, like, Vassell, I thought played all right as well as he could. He held it up at times and turned the defenders and stuff, but he had nothing up there. It was up there himself a lot of the time, and I kind of felt a wee bit sorry for the guy because he was to try and get Kill up the park, but they just had no interest in getting up the park. But no, it was a good victory, Stephen. Great way to start the season.
Yeah, I have to say that Jim Craig as well on unleashing the flag was fantastic, and obviously you have to remember the heroes, and he's still here, and a lot of team have went, and it's just good to keep that tradition alive and keep these people fresh in their memory because it's well deserved. Obviously, Lisburn Lions are the folklore of Celtic Football Club. They lived it, breathed it, and done it, and won the top prize in Europe with the European Cup. But James, I mean, let's talk about. I actually wanted to talk about Nicholas Kuhn for a bit, and I think for me, he has really took, like, I know we're talking about pre-season form, and you can't really look much into it, but for Nicholas Kuhn, it was a big pre-season. He had to make a mark. He had to show he was up to speed. He had to show the glimpses of what we've seen at maybe stuttering starts last season, just bits and bobs here and there of the quality he can produce. And obviously the clips of him at Rapid Vienna, and he's been at Bayern Munich and Ajax, albeit in their academies, but still you need to have a bit of pedigree about you to be in them academies. What have you thought of him so far, even during the summer, coming into the Kilmarnock? I thought, for me personally, he was very direct. He never really chopped back in like he was doing last season, being safe for the ball. He was taking the risk, which ultimately led to the goal. I know it was a deflection, but it was made by him. He made the run, found by, I think it was Kyogo with a nice pass. And if he continues that, and I made a kind of off remark after the City game. I said in that 16 minutes, I thought he produced in a one-off game just as much as I've seen Abada do in a Celtic shirt. And I'll stand by the comment. I do believe if he has a consistent run of form, gets involved, the assists, the numbers of goals, I think he could be right up there with the impact that Neil Abada had at the club.
Fingers crossed that is the case as well, because don't get me wrong, as much as he was criticised last season, there was a couple of games, I think it was up at Pittodrie, and I'm sure there was another game as well, where he showed kind of glimpses that he could be. So hopefully he can keep it up, and it's just about finding that consistency. Obviously, we've seen it against Man City, the type of player that he is and what he can do. As you say, his goal at the weekend gets a wee bit of luck with it, but he deserved the luck. There was one, was it 5 minutes before it or something, where he basically runs the length of the park, but he passes it into McGregor, who tries to pick out Kyogo, but it's blocked, and probably for that alone, he deserved a wee bit of lucky goal with his goal. But he's another one. Even 2-3 weeks ago, if he was to be out the door, I wouldn't have batted an eyelid. But all of a sudden, a wee bit of confidence, and I'm looking forward to seeing Merriam. He looks the part, so fingers crossed they can maintain it.
Yeah, and smell the glove with a lovely comment saying that this game's been covered today. He'll be back in 20 minutes. Look, we didn't speak about it. Only Franny was on the Moon Fest on the Monday Club. But again, Franny, to yourself with Nicholas Kuhn. we look at the wingers we signed last season. Palma, James has a wee soft spot for him. Yang had a soft spot for him for a while until he just really pissed me off. And then there's an abundance of shite that we have there, like Mikey Johnson, who never goes away. And then obviously Maeda, who's obviously a stick-on starter at this point when he's not injured. But I just thought Kuhn to me now is the first choice at that right midfield slot or right winger slot, if you want to call it. And I think it was a major, not call by Brendan Rodgers, but to put Forrest out to the left and accommodate Kuhn on the right. We all know Forrest is predominantly a right winger, but Rodgers made the decision to switch that. Kuhn got the starting jersey over there, and I thought he warranted it. I thought he was brilliant, like Rio Tate.
I know it wasn't, like James had touched on, he carried on his pre-season form and he's taken it into the first game of the season. Hopefully he kicks on for there. And it was a big call for Brendan Rodgers, but maybe he's... I wouldn't say his hand was forced because obviously Palma was fit, but and had, by all accounts, had a no bad pre-season as well, a couple of goals and things like that. So Forrest, the way he finished the season, there was a fair argument for him to start at right wing, and your natural guy, probably just due to availability, would have probably been Palma on the left. So it maybe was a big call and a statement to Rodgers' intent and saying, well, Kuhn, for now I'm hanging my hat on you on the right, and maybe still just doesn't quite trust Palma to give him the workload off the ball anyway. I think on the ball is, again, stats can suit an argument, but his numbers can't, it frustrates me as well, but his numbers can't be ignored. And I said it on Monday, it's a lot of the goals assists must have been in the first half to sort of 2/3 of the season, because a lot of the end of the season, it didn't feature a lot towards the end of the season. So a lot of his numbers must have been early on. So I think he maybe is a confidence player. I think he's got a future at Celtic. I don't see us getting rid of him because, like you, Stephen, I was a big admirer of Yang. I thought there was something there, but nah, I don't think it's ever going to happen for the guy. I mean, not to, like, James Forrest is clearly a top player, has been for years, but I reckon you're putting James Forrest ahead of Yang. And I think that's just that's where Yang is at the end of the day. You bring Yang in to, if you like, push Forrest down the pecking order, but Forrest has came in and is clearly trusted more than Yang. I think we have signed poorly, really poorly last season when you think about it. Some of the players, like, you look at the team that started on Sunday, I'm just trying to think, there was one new signing with Rodgers started. And two in Kuhn. I'm right in that. Two signings that Rodgers has made in this whole time in the season he's here that started. The rest were predominantly, I think, barring Alistair Johnson and Maeda and Hatate. Everybody else was signed, obviously taking Forrest and McGregor out, but Everett and Taylor, but all the other boys were signed in Angie's first season. So it's like guys that had been there for 3 years started that game. And I think that tells you a lot about our transfer activity the last couple of windows.
Yeah. And it's funny to me how the conversation just naturally goes to this transfer window. And see, even for me, like, I'll be honest, right? You all know I like a good moan, a good rant, and a good therapy session when I'm on these podcasts of all usings. And see, to be fair, I'm going to myself, it's not that it's been covered. It's like, it infuriates me that the club cannot see what the fans are so up in arms about and so frustrated about. And the lack of urgency, the lack of will to even complete a transfer deal, in my opinion, is absolutely shambolic. And like what you said, Franny, you could maybe say the last January, summer, last year, and even the January before that, were a shambles if you add up the total players who made an impact compared to the players who come in. So it's a bad state of affairs, to be fair, James. And one of the players that's linked with a move away before, again, we even talk about strengthening the squad is Matt O'Reilly, and that doesn't seem to be going away anywhere. Brighton have entered the race, and I think they're probably serious about maybe matching what Celtic want. I've seen today again on Twitter that, or X, whatever people call it, a Southampton page put up that they're willing to pay £28 million for him, and the green light's been given by the board to have conversations. So there's Brighton, Southampton, Atalanta, there's Inter Milan sniffed about, Atletico Madrid was sniffing about, and I would say probably a multitude of other clubs we just don't know yet that are interested. Chelsea, I heard recently. And all the hype and all the speculation around our players leaving, but no one to coming in to replace these players gives me a bit of the... Actually, it does give me the fucking fear. It does, not just a bit. It gives me the full-on fear. It really does. I think that our squad at the moment, the first 11 is great, but when you go underneath that, the actual squad itself, it's really, really weak. But with Matt O'Reilly, James, I know we spoke about it at length previously, but it's coming up. It's a topic keeps coming up. It keeps refreshing itself every day. There's a new team entering the race, and I don't know. Where are you sitting with it at the moment? Do you think it's going to happen? There's too many clubs for me for it not to happen now. There's too many.
I think it's nailed on. It will happen. You just obviously hope to get the most money you can, and then obviously hope that we reinvest it. Look, I'm not going to begrudge him leaving. I mean, fair play to the guy. He's said that he's spoke about before. He's no through his toys at the pram, try to force a move or anything. He's obviously been excellent for us. So, good luck to him. Fair play when he goes. Don't get me wrong, Southampton would probably be a bit, definitely would be a bit of a backward step. You'd imagine he's leaving here, Champions League fit, but to go and fight a relegation battle down south. Brighton, potentially, I can see the logic in it. Obviously, good at developing players. I know their manager's just left, brought in a new manager as well, but I can see the logic in that move. And then obviously the Chelsea thing, fucking I'm surprised he's not played with Chelsea before. I think about 90% of football players have at this point. But no, I think it will happen, and I've said that umpteen times before. I think his replacement's been signed already in Paulo Bernardo. I know
It can't be.
I've actually said it since before. There was even chat of him signing on a permanent. I think I was saying it last season as well. But look, I know the talk of Brighton just before we were coming on there about the wee Argentine Buenanote or something. So hopefully he can be structured in as part of the deal. I don't know if he's a number 10 though, or if he's made like a kind of winger. I'm not actually sure, but he looks the part. So hopefully there's something in that. And we can get a bit of movement, but it's the same, man. You could probably just cut and paste what I've said with the transfer window for the last kind of 2 months. It's the same thing week in, week out. But if we weren't willing to spend last season, then I don't see why we're going to spend this season. That's pretty much where I'm at. As I say, like, the weak spots that are there were the same weak spots that were there last summer. All that's happened over the course of last season is that we found out Schmeichel was retiring, albeit it was out of contract anyway, so we were going to have to take care of that position regardless. And now it's looking like Matt O'Reilly might leave, potentially Hatate. I know there was talk of a move to Leicester, so it's just kind of firefighting as opposed to actually looking to strengthen. Well, certainly it feels like, obviously there's still time left and all that jazz, but we've been here before.
Yeah, I know. We've been here before.
The Schmeichel deal, I thought his comments were quite interesting, how he said he was contacted after Denmark went out the Euros. So, like, what was the recruitment team doing when Joe Hart announced in February, whatever it was?
Do you want me to tell you what they were doing? Do you want me to tell you what they were doing? I'll tell you what they were doing.
We've not got a head of recruitment, have we? Because they've fucked off too.
They've all been. Yeah, like Tony Daly makes a great point, Alfrani, if you want to take this one. The Matt O'Reilly sale is the catalyst for everything else. I genuinely feel like they are hanging off for him to be sold first before making any significant moves, sadly. And I think that's a feeling some Celtic fans do get anyways. But Tony obviously said it, but it's it shouldn't be that we're waiting on a big, massive transfer fee coming in. We're obviously going to come on to another fucking statement to make that the stock exchange, much like they did last year. We're sitting on a pile of cash. And if you take your mind back to Friday's podcast, by the way, Friday's podcast has reached over 3,500 views, and that's fantastic for ourselves. And I think we got something like 120 new subscribers. So we thank everyone for joining our page, and I hope you continue watching and enjoying the content we put out. But it was a very telling thing, because a person put up an article with its own opinion on a certain individual, and then he gets told to take it down. So again, that was censored. Some of it was to do around the transfer windows in the past and leading up to now. We look at ourselves now, and like James said, we've been here so many times before. We had the same chats last year. We had the same chats about time frames to why we can't sign certain players. And you asked what the recruitment team were doing. They were doing fuck all. Do you know what I mean? They were handing in their resignation papers and waiting on their last paycheck, and off they went. And by the sounds of it, we've got no one in that department apart from Tosh McKinley and some French fella who's the head of scouting operations, Jay Leroux or something like that.
For what we've heard, it sounds as if the recruitment team was basically managing us towards a double. For the sound bites we've heard, that genuinely seems to be the recruitment team. There hasn't been a mention of anybody else, and obviously we haven't replaced Mark Global. So I honestly am of the belief that it's Brendan Rodgers that's identifying these players.
Well, I mean, Franny, you take it there. What do you think about that Matt O'Reilly comment from Tony? Are Celtic waiting on that? I mean,
you would hope not, but it's hard to argue against it at the end of the day. And we had a bid rejected about 4 weeks ago for Adam Ida. By all accounts, I'm not saying we've went in again, but it doesn't seem like, for the outside looking in, obviously we're not privy to what happens inside the club, but it certainly looks for the outside that we haven't went back in again, and it's almost like we're forcing Adam Ida to force a move away. I mean, John Hartson had wrote on Twitter about that Celtic, or he tried to kind of blame Adam Ida, saying he needs to do more, and it's like, this guy has missed a flight to his training. He's still got all the Celtic stuff on his Instagram. He's even posting pictures with James Forrest. He was getting booed in a friendly and walked straight down the tunnel. The guy can't really do much. He's came out and said he wants to come back. The guy can't do much more, or he'll just get he could, if he starts doing a wee bit more. Norwich could just, if we're not doing our bit, Adam Ida for me seems to be doing everything he can without really handing in a transfer request. It seems like he's doing everything he can to get the move to try and force Norwich's hand. And maybe Norwich are getting a wee bit pissed off because it looks, certainly from our point of view, as much as we can see that we're not coming back in from, then maybe they're just digging their heels in and going, well, clearly they just didn't value the player how well we say it. So I thought John Hartson's comments were way off the mark. I think Celtic have a massive, I've got to take a massive bit of the blame for this Adam Ida deal not happening quite yet. I think if, as I say, I've said plenty of times that, like, if Norwich are wanting 9-10 million, then I think we look elsewhere. But if it's 6, maybe 7, I'm all right with paying that for Adam. If that's who Rodgers wants, if that's his guy and he wants him in, get him. Going, like, the money to me is not the issue. Yes, I don't want to be paying stupid money for, like, way over the odds for a guy, but I'm all right to go maybe $1 million to $2 million over the asking price if Rodgers really wants the guy, because then the likelihood is Rodgers will progress him and will make that money back anyway on the guy. So if guys like Ida, it's Celtic are the reason for me that he is not in the doors yet. He, as I say, he's done everything he can. And to go back to Tom's comment, like, you would hate to, Tony, sorry, you would hate to think that's their logic saying, oh, we'll wait till we see what we get for Matt Riley, and then we'll use that to get the guys we've kind of got sitting there waiting. I feel like it's not really Football Manager where you need to sell a player to try and get some money. We're literally sitting on about 70-80 million before we actually announce our latest figures. We don't need to be selling Matt Riley before we spend. Like, spend it, then spend the money you need. Just get guys in.
Can I throw something in? because what I need to take it, by the way, and I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Franny. But I've seen a few comments, and I did, but I can't take it back now. I've seen a few comments before, and I do want to address the elephant in the room, okay? And we've talked about it briefly in the past, and I'll be briefly again. I just want your opinions on it. I've seen a couple of comments while I've been doing these podcasts in the last couple of weeks, maybe suggesting James or Franny that we're stockpiling the cash, because we all know the club's in a court case for really sickening reasons. And as I always say, whatever damages need to be paid out, do need to be paid out regardless, because it was sick and it was atrocious. But do you think that's part of why we're hoarding the cash? Is that the issue? Do you think anyone want to take that? Do you think that is the issue?
I personally don't think so. I think, look, I am by no means an expert in law or anything, obviously, at all that involved. But I would imagine there'll be some sort of insurance that will cover that. Well, if we're going to, and to be fair, 100%, there is absolutely no defending, obviously, what took place. But if we as a club, once the proceedings are done, are going to put our hands in our pockets to the victims, then fair play, absolutely. But it still wouldn't, well, you wouldn't imagine it will be to the tune of the cash that's there. And even at that's only a kind of hypothetical. So I don't think that's the reason. I honestly, I don't know what the reason is. I don't know why it's the way it is, but I don't think that's the reason personally.
What about you, Franny?
I say I'm the same as James. My understanding is obviously you'll have liability insurance and stuff that would cover that. Maybe Celtic are trying to, if once it's kind of it's sort of settled and stuff, and there has payments to be made, maybe Celtic will look at that to try and come out it as best they can. I feel like if the verdict goes the way I think everybody would expect it to go, maybe Celtic maybe don't look to the insurance to pay it. Maybe they do pay it out of their own pocket at the end of the day to try and make good of the situation. I feel like it's a terrible term to use considering, but I'm trying to word it better, but don't know how to. But maybe try and show we come out of it looking a wee bit better, and it shows a wee bit of compassion if there is such a thing you could show to the victims and stuff. So, but I'm similar with James with that. It's, again, obviously not really got any clue how law works, but you wouldn't imagine it'd be that kind of money you would need to be sitting on just in case you've got to pay that out. Especially with insurance, and even if we were paying it out of our own pocket, I don't think it'd be the tune of the money that we're sitting with.
Yeah, no, look, I'm of the same thing.
I don't understand the logic by sitting in all this money. I don't get why they're doing it.
Like, I just wanted to obviously make the point that we do talk about that. We're not trying to avoid that situation because I've seen people suggesting that we are. But again, I'm of the same opinion. I'm of yourselves. I think there's probably liability insurance. But at the end of the day, if Celtic do need to cover a proportion or the majority, then rightly so. Do you know what I mean? It's rightly so that the victim should be always paid out for whatever the courts decide. As I said, the crimes were atrocious. But again, back to what we were talking about, James. And Rodgers, in his post-match comments, basically said again with a raised eyebrow that he hopes that we strengthen by the end of the window. His terminology, his words have changed over the last couple of months yet again. If you'd cast your mind back to last summer, he was happy with everything, and then that slowly changed coming up to January. Going into this summer transfer window, he wanted the players in early. He wanted them to go to America. He wanted them to bed in with the team. Now he just hopes, James, he hopes that we can strengthen. And what did you make of him saying that he's not taking any shots at the board with them comments? I think there's been some comments with a bit of edge to them. Maybe he doesn't see them as like, boom, that's straight to Michael Nicholson, but he's naming individuals. Do you know what I mean? He's putting the heat on them. He's smart. He's very streetwise. He knows what he's doing. I just don't buy that bit.
I don't for a second believe him, to be honest. You've got to imagine that he'll be as frustrated as the rest is. Obviously, he knows what's going on behind the scenes, but he'll be frustrated as well. I know we've kind of said that a few times, but we sat at that unveiling press conference and told us about our plans to progress in Europe. There was talk about reaching a European final. I think to reach a European final now, we're going to need to lose the league unless we're planning and winning the Champions League the way it's gone. But there's absolutely no reason that we. And when I say have a go at Europe, and I know people talk about Champions League quality players, and we can't afford 30 million players, and FIP has moved on, and it has, but there's nothing stopping us from signing players in that kind of 5 to 10 million region to give us the best possible chance, just to be the best that we can be. If we get into the Champions League and before short, then fair enough. Better teams than Celtic have fell short in the Champions League in the past, but let's just for once give the best possible chance at it. But in terms of his comments, look, I've said umpteen times before, it just depends what way the wind's blowing, what he's saying. I think he's definitely took kind of, I wouldn't say shots, but there's been a few choice words in interviews that I don't think are by accident, even prior to this window, thinking back to January as well and the run-up to it. But he's no daft. He'll know what he says and he'll know how it gets picked up. So I don't think his comments have been by accident. When he's coming out and saying, I can't remember the name of the channel, but it was a Peter Martin and Aaron Ruff thing on YouTube. Can't for the life of me remember it. But I actually watched a wee bit of that when it covered the Celtic game, and they had a quote from him. I don't know where he gave it. I've not actually seen the interview, but he basically said that he wasn't taking shots at his bosses. He understands, and he's got a great relationship with them, and all that kind of palaver. But I don't buy it because we know, and I don't want to cover all ground, but we know how it ended the last time, and we know obviously the John McGinn saga and who was in the boardroom. Let's just say at that point. So there is definitely previous, and as I say, he isn't daft. He knows how the media works up here. And he's been, don't get me wrong, obviously he's made comments before which have galvanised. When you think back to last season, coming to the end of it, we'll write our own story and all that stuff. So he knows how the media works up here. So I don't buy that for a second. He'll be as frustrated as the rest is.
Yeah, and it's just for me where that frustration leads him after Annie. And like we don't want to obviously talk about him leaving the club or whatever, but I think for me, like what really baffles me and annoys me is that he's changed the time frame so much, and I think he knows what. To me, he knows what he's doing. So he's named individuals who are in charge of the transfers, but we know who they are. Michael Nicholson, chief executive, and the CFO, Chris Mackay, chief financial officer. So they're in charge of the negotiations at a snail's pace, probably even fucking slower than a snail. So you know what I mean. But what do you make of his comments to the press? And again, coming out and saying he hopes to. Does that fill you with confidence? Because I've seen a few people in here that were basically saying we're blowing smoke off our arses. I think there's going to be more signings. I've seen it on Twitter. People saying prepare for the worst. This is our squad to see us through to the end of the season or to January anyway. And to be fair, that phrase, I hope or we hope, tells me that there are no further negotiations, or there's definitely no one imminent coming into the club in the coming days or even this week.
I would go more to that, Stephen, and it's maybe nothing's imminent. I feel like I fail to believe we're not going to do more business. We cannot go through this, certainly up till January, running with one striker and one left back. Whether you want to improve on Kyle going guys like Taylor, but I cannot for the life of me. As much as you want to maybe have pop shots at the board and deserve a lot of it some of the times, surely even they're not that daft that they've got to leave Rodgers hanging dry with one recognised left back and one recognised striker. It just makes no sense to me. So I think it's maybe nothing's imminent. Maybe right now, Stephen, I think he's been very intelligent. I'm with James. I think he knows how the media works up here. I think managers sometimes need to in an ideal world, it would be maybe more like Neil Lennon, where he wears his heart on his sleeve and he's maybe just not quite as savvy, and he's a wee bit more transparent and lays it out.
People would also say Lenny's a yes man. I think that's what people were annoyed with him at, especially the second time around.
Second time round, first time round, I wouldn't say he was a yes man.
Mm.
First time round, I wouldn't say he was a yes man. Second time round, maybe so. But even then, he still had a few things to say, and he wasn't kind of backed. Regarding guys like Edward and Christie and Ayer saying they wanted to leave, and they're still here. So, but for me, I think Rodgers has been clever with his comments. I know he came out and said that he's no hint sly digs at the boards and stuff, but the day he previous, and it's blind faith, I suppose. Maybe it's just blind faith, but there's no way we're on with one striker and one left back. Absolutely no way. Not a chance in my lifetime, surely.
They've kicked the arse out the Adamida thing as well. I was going to say when, but it is more than if at the moment. And if he signs, there's got to be no fanfare at all. And we'll then
same with Bernardo, isn't it?
That's what I was going to say. It's exactly the same. And you're talking, at least the middle of August before we could potentially even be at that point. And at that point, our outfield 10 is at exactly the same place as it was when the season ended on the 25th of May. So it's genuinely baffling that we haven't done anything. And I agree with yourself. I still think we will do business. I honestly think it's impossible for us not to do business. But the thing in my head, and look, obviously we don't know how much was in it, but we kind of the rumours that we were talking about just before we came on there, the Ben Doak loan, and that kind of pairs in with the Owen Beck thing for me as well. Was just kind of, it's almost like a safety blanket. Like, whilst they haven't signed for them else, they're always there. We could always just go and take them if all else fails. And that is honestly, I can see it in deadline day if we've not got a left back in. I've said it umpteen times. He's there, and if he's no moved, then I think it's a place that we'll go back and revisit.
Well, let me just like, I think we might do some business on the last day as well. And it might be some of our business will be simply because we are going for that better quality player. The word that Rodgers has used a lot since he came in. We might not get our first choice through the door, so then you're moving on to your second choice, and it drags out. And I think there could be, I'm not like, hypothetically speaking, if we do 3 or 4 deals in the last day of the window, not necessarily saying they'll be rushed, but it could just be pure coincidence at the time, and folk will just look at that as well and go, aye, panicking. I just think the way they've dealt with the whole transfer window and how they're dealing with it, they're not the guys that are coming in are not getting the fanfare they probably deserve, I feel like.
I for the life of me, if I can think there's a helicopter, I could throw read it. I for the life of me, I just can't get my head around the Adamida thing. I don't understand it. We've been in for him, been told a price, put a bid in, which has allegedly fell well short of that. At that point, surely you either try and negotiate a deal, which apparently Norwich are willing to lower their asking price. Then at that point, surely we get an improved offer, or we just walk away. We're now at the stage more than 2 months on for that Scottish Cup final. The last day that Adamida kicked a ball for Celtic, and we're literally no further forward, having read the papers or read online yesterday. Adamida's done, as we said, he's done all he can for his side. We're now at the stage where you've got teams in Italy starting to circle around Adamida, so we could lose him to Serie A, and then at that point, I think, obviously, we can safely say now that Adamida is our number 1 striker target. If he goes to Italy, you're then automatically, whoever's coming in is your number 2. And it really irritates me that, and look, I know I go on a bit more of time, but like, Miofsky is sitting at Aberdeen, he's still there. If
he's away, mate. Did you not see the pictures today?
No, I've not seen anything today.
He is away. No, he was putting his suitcases into a car, so people are saying he's away. I don't know. Well, Aberdeen fans are saying that's not me. So there you go.
He's been there the full time. And I think it would have been the biggest tap in. Even watching their game on Monday night, I thought it was quality. I've never seen, as I say, Carter Vickers. It's probably comfortably the hardest game he's had domestically. When you think back to the goal he scored in the semi-final as well, and I just feel it's such a tap-in for him to be there. And look, if Adam Idah was a first choice, then I 100% fair play, go for Adam Idah. But well, as I say, we're 2 months on now, and we're no further forward, and we've got absolutely... I mean, there's not even really any striker links at all, apart from Idah. I know there was a wee guy from Sweden, I can't remember his name, but that was a kind of a youngster that was coming in as a third choice. But it's
Troy
just
or something, wasn't it?
I can't remember his name. I just was at Hammerby played with. But the Adam Idah thing is just totally baffling.
Yeah, it is baffling. And someone put in the comments, did you see the dressing room says world class basics on it? That the new dressing room. Did you see it, Franny? No.
No, I've never noticed that message. I've obviously seen the pictures, but I've never actually noticed that message.
So they've got the slogan world class basics on it. I mean, saying that sort of shit and then doing this, it's so counterproductive. It is almost like someone said they're laughing in their faces. And the Adam Idah thing for me, see if we didn't get him, I wouldn't be surprised. I genuinely wouldn't be surprised. Now we'll probably try and sign that fucking mess Shankland from Hearts, and I don't understand the hype around him either. He's not that great in my opinion. But Bojan Miovski, James, I think he is Aberdeen's best player. But going by the rumours on the Aberdeen Twitter sphere today that someone snapped a picture of him packing 2 massive suitcases in the back of a car. So I don't know if he's... Obviously, there's clubs in Serie A's linked to him, so he'll probably be off and miss out another one. And Adam Idah, it's just taking forever. Do you know what I mean? It's... I don't know how to feel. I'm past being pissed off.
His head at? If it doesn't look like we're pushing the boat out from, where is his head at the end of the day? Is he then going, maybe they didn't want me as much as they say they want me?
But where would your head be at?
That's what I was going to say. It could backfire for us as well, because if you've got a player, like, imagine that was a player here. I mean, you'd either be sitting here going, get him out the door to the first offer, or just stick him in with the reserves and fuck him, basically, just ruin a year of his career. So it might not be to us, but you'd imagine that he's going to force a move somewhere with what he's done. And look, you can't. I can't really argue with what he's done. It's clear that he wants to be here, and it's clear that we want him here. But for some reason, it's not adding up for some reason, which is the one thing I just can't get my head around. Why we're still in negotiations with him if that's the case.
See hypothetically, right? Franny, I'll come to yourself in this one. I'll come to you, James, as well, obviously. But so for people who aren't aware in the comments, before we come on, James shared a link into the podcast chat that we're a part of, and it said Celtic were after 2 Liverpool youngsters, Bobby Clark and, funny enough, one of our very own, Ben Doak, both on loan. And the other fellow from Brighton, I think his first name's Federico or something like that, so I'll stick with that.
Facundo or something.
Facundo, there, it was close. So there's 3 youngsters. The latter of them is an Argentinian international, 2 caps, played in around 25 games for Brighton last season. I think he's 18. Well, all right, Franny, you've obviously been looking at that Wikipedia page. It's all right. I give a broad scape of 25. He's played 50, whatever. Franny's is 25. He maybe has. Federico, whatever. I don't give. Just ruin me now again. But see if we brought them 3 in, and will that O'Reilly go? Would that be a successful window in your opinion?
Well, it's
first of all, what position is Bobby Clark? I've no idea what position is Bobby Clark.
Never heard him, so
I think he's a striker. 2 seconds, we'll Google it. I'm sure he's a striker.
No idea. Obviously, we know Ben Doak's a wide player. By all accounts, I think the Argentinian boy for Brighton, I think he's a wide player as well. So
transfer market scope him as a centre mid. I thought he was a striker.
So I didn't see the point of that. I think that, for me personally, I don't think there's anything in the 2 Liverpool boys ones. I think the Argentinian, there's something in that. There was reports that we were interested in him along with Southampton. Incidentally, that's another team that's want O'Reilly, and depending on what reports you're looking at, apparently he favours a move to Southampton, which is a strange one because I'm with James. I think Brighton would be a really good move for him. They do well with developing players and stuff, and he seems like O'Reilly, as I said, he seems like a clued up laddie that he kind of can path his sort of a career out. So obviously, if we can somehow get the Argentinian boy in with that deal, I'd hope it's like a permanent one or even just a loan with an option to buy it. Like, I don't want it to. It's probably more likely because I think he's kind of rated at about 18 million or something. So it's more likely it's just going to be a straight loan. We'll get money plus him for a season, which is. I don't know how I feel about that because at the end of the day, what if the boy's crap for a year? Then we've just lost our island, gave a guy for how was shite. But I suppose that's this. But to kind of go back to your question, I wouldn't say it's a successful window, Stephen, but then it's hard to. That was the three players simply because Ben Doak, I think the boy's a huge talent. I just don't think he's got to take us. I think, like we say, he'll probably be good enough for domestically, but I think we need guys that have got to give us a right good chance in Europe. Again, Ben Doak might be up, but he's only, 18, I think, maybe a push 18. It's a lot of pressure to put on the guy, especially when he left. There will be fans probably got a wee bit of ill feelings towards him and stuff. That's got to be a lot for him to take on at that age, to come back up the road and turn it on at the end of the day. So I don't see that, but it's hard to say what would be a successful one because I think we all agree that certainly with the rumours and stuff and the amount of teams that seem to be linked to Matt O'Reilly, I think he's away. So you probably are going to be, certainly in that position, you will be weaker regardless of who you bring in. Just simply because if we're looking as a club upwards of 25 million for Matt O'Reilly, we're not bringing that type of player back in. We're just going to have to bring a guy in that hopefully develops into Matt O'Reilly, but maybe spend, like obviously you could luck out and get another guy at £2 million or whatever that there or thereabouts, that figure what Matt O'Reilly came in for. But I think we need to try and take lesser risk, if you like, and maybe spend, like James was talking about, the 5 to 10 million bracket, where maybe in a season he'll be where Matt O'Reilly is now, as opposed to maybe 2.5 or whatever. But I think it's an unfair question to say losing Matt O'Reilly and bringing X, Y, and Z in, is that a poor transfer window? Because if anything, last season showed me I was kind of happy with our business, even though I knew not one player would be brought in, but you just see all these players coming in and you think a lot of them would be good, and they weren't. So I think it's one of the ones where you'll need to give guys a chance. But predominantly the guys that we'll bring in will not have heard it. So you kind of got to give them a chance to prove themselves, and I don't think it'd be fair to compare them at Matt O'Reilly's level.
Yeah, I'm not really trying to compare, but I do get what you're saying. What I'm coming across, James, is here, what point I'm trying to make is we lose one player in O'Reilly who has undoubted quality and he's turned into an absolute magnificent player. You bring in, quite interestingly, Bobby Clark as a centre mid. The guy from Brighton can operate number 10 position and off the wing. So is that two players there to really try and fill that O'Reilly void? I don't know. Again, these are all rumours, by the way, so don't take us at face value. We're working off rumours here and trying to just come up with a pattern to see what positions they're actually looking at. The other fella, Ben Doak, obviously in our youth academy, is a winger, and we all know we need a winger. If we get Ben Doak back, in my opinion, I don't think that's good enough. But what about yourself, James? And also, as strange of the doctor asks us a question, I'll keep that for after, but we will come to it. Anyone else that wants to ask anything fired in as a double pivot, let's get involved, and we'll chat about anything really. But what about you, James, and them three individual targets anyway?
If we signed them all on loan, no, it wouldn't be a successful window. The Argentine boy, was it Bonanotti? On paper, it would be a fantastic signing, but to sign him on loan for a year, what's the point? To sign him on loan for a year as part of the O'Reilly deal, without having an option to buy as well was absolutely even more pointless. If we can get him in for even 18 months or with an option to buy at the end, then fair play. But like, a 19-year-old boy with caps for Argentina, he's not going to leave England to come to Scotland to play permanently, really. You'd imagine he'd probably have a fair few clubs in for him in better leagues in Scotland. In terms of, I don't know anything about the boy Clark and Ben Doak. Ben Doak might be brilliant. He might know, but it's still a case that we don't know. What we've seen him at Liverpool, he seems to be highly rated. I know he's coming back off a bad injury, but I mean, he's not really played a lot of first team football at all. So, is Ben Doak going to come in and walk into Celtic's first team? I wouldn't imagine so, to be honest. Maybe through time he could, but to sign, as I say, the Argentine, I think would be quality, but the other two, it's kind of much of a muchness. I don't really think it improves us, even if O'Reilly goes, obviously you're hoping to get numbers in, but it doesn't do it for me, and especially on loan, and you would imagine there wouldn't be an option to buy, at least for the Argentine anyway. But and even with the Ben Doak thing as well, I don't know if I believe it, because I just don't see us signing Ben Doak on loan, even if the view to buy him, having lost him for basically buttons a couple of years ago, to then spend probably millions on bringing him back. I don't imagine that would be too popular in the boardroom. So, nah, the Argentine I'd take depending on the deal, but the other two I'm not really fussed about, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that the Argentine's the one who obviously has the most promise, having full international caps already and played plenty of it, as Franny said, his correspondent over there, over 50 games last season in the Premier League. So, it's a decent one if we can get that sort of level of player in to help replace O'Reilly if he joins Brighton. But look, Franny, Strangelove the Doctor comes in. Question for the panel: how many Celtic players would you trust at the Champions League level? Now, I've seen this debate earlier in the comments. I think Strangelove said there was 8 players. If you want to put them back in, and I'll throw them up as well. If anyone else wants to chip in here. So how many players and who would they be would you trust at that Champions League level currently at the club?
Schmeichel, Alistair Johnson, Carter Vickers. I would trust Taylor. I would like to improve on it, but I think in the main he'll be okay. The midfield three as they are, if that's the midfield three, you've got to trust him. I think does need to step up in that level, because I think for all fair he's living off a wonder pass against Real Madrid in the Champions League, really. Apart from that, he's not really done much, but I think in his defence he has been injured a bit. During their campaigns, he's been unfortunate in Kyogo there, so that's 7 I've got I would trust there. I suppose Maeda away from home I would trust.
Yeah, I mean,
defensively,
he's an absolute machine. Evening, Colin, nice to see you in the comments. What about you, James? I mean, people are saying Casper, AJ, Carter Vickers, O'Reilly. Franny's went with 7. What about yourself?
Well, I've got Kasper Schmeichel, been there, done it. Obviously played at international tournaments as well. Carter Vickers. The fullbacks, I'm going to say no to either, to be honest, because I think it's actually something we spoke about in the group chat, that Greg Taylor probably for last year was equal to, if not better than, Alistair Johnson over the course of the season. So I don't think it'd be fair to put Johnson in and no put Taylor in. So I would say no to either. I don't think we'll replace Johnson, to be fair, but I'm not saying either of them are bad players, but just at that level, I don't think so, or at least not yet anyway. So I've went Schmeichel, Carter Vickers, McGregor, but McGregor with the caveat in no playing him in the role that we've played him in the last 2 years. I think he needs to push on one and no be the kind of holding mid. So Schmeichel, Vickers, McGregor, O'Reilly's a tap in. I'd say Maeda as well for the the role that we ask him to play in terms of the kind of defensive side. I've put him in there. You probably need to give James Forrest a nod as well. Again, been there, done it, got the T-shirt. I've put O'Reilly, but obviously he'll be away. Look, Kyogo is again another interesting one because when you think back to the last two campaigns,
he scored last season.
I know, but you think of the chances that he missed as well. Granted, Mersault was in the first campaign, but I don't know if I'd put him in there. And again, it's no me saying he's a bad player. Obviously, I love him, but I just don't know at that level. And obviously, Palmer is nailed on to be in there as well. But in terms of out and out hanging your hat
He can't help it. He can't help it. No, he's maniac.
I'd go Schmeichel, Vickers, McGregor, O'Reilly, and Maida.
Decent. I think Anthony Dunn went for the full team. If we've all seen his comment up, it was the full lineup from Sunday's game against Kilmarnock. But I think for me personally, I would definitely say Kasper Schmeichel. I would say Carter Vickers, AJ, Rio Tate, Cal McGregor, O'Reilly. I'm probably going to say the whole team here is actually a bit baffling. Kyogo.
Sorry, I'll come back to you at the end. Sorry.
No, go ahead, mate. Go ahead. I think I'm done there. Yeah.
I was just going to say, everybody's putting in Alistair Johnson, but seems to be excluding Greg Taylor, and I don't get that.
I picked Greg Taylor.
Well, fair play. But no, for me, you either put both of them in or you don't put any of them in.
No, I understand that argument.
AJ literally just got in the best team in the Copa America right back. I'd say it's testament to him. He is a quality player, in my opinion. Do you know what I mean?
Diego Laxalt got in the best team in the World Cup.
He's after me tonight. He's full on after me. He don't let me have anything here. Like, well, no, look, I get your point. I just think Greg Taylor's shortcomings are more evident, in my opinion, than Alistair Johnson's. I think in the whole season and all the domestic cups and European competitions, Greg Taylor let us down more than AJ does. That's my opinion. And I think AJ's really getting their level and he's pushing on. Obviously, had a great Copa America with Canada and things like that. But look, before we move on to the kind of new Champions League format and where do I think Celtic will fit in, like the tagline says on the show or the podcast, I'm going to break it up, right? Now, but I tried this. Oh, he's away.
I think that'll be telling James to fuck off.
He's a while. I didn't expect that. That kind of threw me off a wee bit now. I hope he didn't. I thought he hasn't fucked off. Right, I'll break it up. This is all right for one, okay? If he comes back, we'll do the other part. So we're going to do a wee bit of would you rather, right? Just a wee bit of crack. So maybe 3 or 4 of them. Again, just a wee bit of crack. It's not football related. It's just to break up the heavy chat with transfers and things of that nature. So, what? Right. So the first one, right? There's some I don't want to read out because
you've just even got a clue what you're going to ask us.
Oh, he said his laptop's died. He didn't pay the electric bill. He's going to the neighbour's house. Right. So,
James,
we'll go with the first one for you.
I'll like your meter, pal.
Would you rather fight 1,000 ant-sized bulls or 1 bull-sized ant? It's actually a tricky one. It's a tricky one.
I think I'd dare go with 1,000 ant-sized bulls. So you could kick some of them away in that and stamp in some of them.
That's very violent. But do you think you would take on 1,000?
How do you fight like Stephen? Do you tickle each other in that?
Tickle fights, pillow fights, it's all the rage. But do you think you could take on 1,000 ant? They're pretty strong fuckers. Like,
there would be, but I'd fancy my chances more than African bull.
True.
Ant-sized bull.
So you're going with fighting 1,000 ant-sized bulls, right? Fair play. Right. Second one. Now, that's quite interesting to see what you pick. Would you rather adopt a British accent every time you're having a serious conversation, or laugh every time someone cries? So, like the British, the proper, like the one you'd hear in the films, like proper posh British accents. You don't want them ones, or would you rather laugh every time someone cries?
I would probably go with the first one because I'm not great in awkward situations, mate. So I sometimes try and joke and maybe awkwardly laugh when folk are crying anyway. So It'd probably be the first one.
So you because you do the other thing already, yeah.
I pretty much did the other thing already.
Yeah. Do you ever? This is going to sound awful. I've been at a few events, let's say like funerals and stuff, where I have actually awkwardly
been at events, funerals.
Where I've awkwardly maybe laughed, but that's not a bad thing. It's just as you said, it's more of a fucking nervous reaction, right?
I think that was what it is for me. I just didn't know how to react.
This is interesting. Would you rather clog the toilet during a job interview or on a first date?
Where is the first date?
You bring that scenario in. That could be in the house. You're having a nice dinner. It could be. I mean, if you're out in public. See, I know where you're going with that. I know where you're going with that. You're backing out of it.
You can claim it's not you.
Right, so you're dumping in the restaurant.
Aye, because you can claim depends on your work as well. If it's one toilet, that's a chance.
Well, they're all saying job interview. You've went Maggie.
Well, no, because if you're in a restaurant and there's, if it's only used to, then it's a bit different. But if there's more folk there, could be somebody else.
So the only way you've got around that is you've put your own context into that, and you fucked it. So you have.
I probably would try and avoid going for a shite in the first date because they're going to know you're not going for a pee, and you'll be away pretty well, and you just know that shite. There's not going to be any friction in that first wipe. You know you're going to be there for a while.
JD, he's done both. Fuck, that's some interview and some fucking date you're on there, buddy. Right. So next one, we'll do two more with you, right, and then we'll move back on to football. Would you rather accidentally like an old photo of your ex on Instagram or accidentally send a naughty text to a relative?
I got to go to the first one, mate.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
First one.
Right, okay. Hold on. Holy shit. Right. Would you rather always say what you're thinking or never be able to speak again?
This could be the first one.
So you always say what you're thinking?
Imagine going through life no talking.
Fuck. Sometimes it's peace and quiet though, isn't it? I mean, you ever sit in your own company for a while? You're just like...
You might just be sitting there.
I've been
able to... Well, I say I've been able to talk for 39 years. It's obviously I couldn't talk when I was away, but... You know what I mean?
Right, last one. Your man, trust me, I'm speaking from experience. You do a shit in the first date, that's the last date. Franny's all about doing turds in the bathrooms and that. Like, would you rather have to use sandpaper as toilet paper or hot sauce as eye drops?
I mean, I think I've gone sandpaper and no wiping properly.
Oh,
getting him for a shower, mate.
Sandpaper? Oh,
I mean, it's obvious. It'd be really sore, but then maybe just do one wipe and be like, right, Ken, what? I'm going him with dirty plant. I'm going him with skid marks here. But I'll get him for a shower.
You're going home with skiddies after that first date. Like, that's disgusting, isn't it? Like, when James
comes, my first date, and I've got fucking sandpaper to wipe my arse with.
Listen, Paul McFarlane, we had a bit of crack. We like to break it up on the Double Pivot Show. You know this yourself, right? It's a bit of fun. And by the way, see when James comes back, we're going to do first who laughs loses. And I'm bringing that back again because some of the jokes I have tonight are absolute belters and a wee bit maybe crossing the line, but we'll see. So, Franny, back to the football chat, right? So we were talking about transfers before, and what a way for me for the Celtic board not to make it easy on themselves, telling the stock exchange they're expecting significantly higher incomes than last season, and it'll be updated September-ish time. I think that's early September. Funny enough, last season we turned over 112 million quid. So if it's going to be significantly higher, it'd be interesting to see that figure. As it stands at the moment, I have upwards of 70 million in the bank, not including obviously transfer fees coming in at the moment. And you talk about, as I said, they're not making it easy. Oh, Paul, you're in for it. You should love that part. You love a wee pun. You love a wee joke, and it's, you know what I mean? It's added to your stamp collection, buddy. But talk about not making it easy for yourself. All these people look at the board when they release stuff like this. It's going to catch fire. People are going to start asking questions, and you kind of just shake your head and be like, for anyone, in my opinion, who even has a slightest sympathy for the board, you can't have it no more. It's shambolic.
Well, not to sound like any happy clapper, they're probably, and it's probably something they have to do with a timescale, Stephen. So this statement was maybe always got to come out, or like these figures were maybe always got to be released around about this time to the stock exchange. So, and maybe in one hand, like I don't think these come out at random times. There will probably be, like I said, deadlines and timescales of when this stuff comes out. But as much as folk want to make it a big massive open goal and things like that, it's hard. Again, folk will have their pop-ups because, as I say, we've signed 3 boys, and one of them's Sinisalo for £1 million, Casper Schmeichel's a free, and Bernardo was a guy we haggled for. We agreed to pay $6 million for, then haggled it down to 3.5 for 6 weeks or something. So all the optics, and I feel like don't look great when you're already sitting cash rich. The fans are asking for us to sign players. They don't seem to be dragging their heels and getting deals over the line and things. And then we're going to announce, we probably were already going to announce a really good balance sheet, essentially this year's balance sheet. And they've had to come out and admit, and it's got to be better than what they expect it to be. I say it's without really paying too much attention to this type of thing with the football club. I think if you look back year on year, give or take a day or so, I think this type of thing will happen round about this time each year. It's just unfortunate, I guess, that the optics just didn't look good. How the fans are wanting you to spend money. Seems the manager wants us to spend money, but the board doesn't. And the board are forever getting digs saying you stockpiling cash. Why are you doing it? You're doing it for dividends, the pension stuff. These type of things didn't help that argument, I suppose. But I don't think there's anything. I just think it adds to the frustration, Stephen. I think it's an unfortunate one for the board where they need to announce this stuff and they have a time frame for it. But everything else happening is just amplified by it.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be met with the same frustration because we know, James, these statements like Donny said there and Franny, they're pre-planned. It's in a timeline to obviously publish the accounts and things like that. It wouldn't be met with the same anger and frustration as it would be if we were spending money and actually spending some of the money we had in the bank. It's almost like laying laud over this. It's like a trophy for the board to have significant income streams, and we turned over £112 million last year. It's going to be higher than that. So again, it's fantastic, by the way, from a financial point of view, from a club standpoint, but we're not seeing that deliver onto the pitch. And while I agree, yes, timelines dictate when these statements get put out, I just think sometimes it's a bit like, you know, what the fuck? And then today I've seen the salaries of Michael Nicholson all around Twitter, and Peter Lawwell, £1 million, Chris Mackay on over £1 million as well. And you're looking at it going, the fans are like, you're paying for kits. I haven't paid for a Celtic kit in years. I don't care. I really don't. I don't care about that. I just haven't. And people are buying merchandise left, right, and centre, giving up their time to go to matches and sacrificing huge amounts of money for season tickets and things for kids and like that. So I mean, they get kitting out their kids with the latest stuff and posters, pictures, all that. And you see statements like that, and it's like, what are we getting in return? What does the supporter get? Nothing at the moment.
I don't know if you could say that, to be fair. when you consider, and look, I'll stand right beside you and having a go at the board, but it's not exactly been shite following Celtic the last few years. I understand. I get your frustration.
But what happened? Did James have a personality transplant during that time he was off? What happened to you?
Nah, but I know it's not all fucking doom and gloom, let's be honest. Like, we are obviously frustrated because we want to be the best we can be and kick on in Europe, but look, let's be honest. I mean, if it gets to, what is it, the 1st of September and we play Rangers and we win 5-0 and we haven't signed them, they were not going to be on here moaning, are we? Do you know what I mean? So you kind of take it off with the smooth in that regard. Like, 100%, I get the frustration. As far as I'm aware, the actual document itself was
Picture of Lowell doing that.
Aye, but it was like a legal requirement, so it wasn't basically can I get it updated to support, like it was an actual requirement. But look, we knew it was there anyway. I get they said it was going to be significantly higher than expected, but we knew it was there regardless. So look, if it's on a bit of paper and they're publishing it, what difference does it make really? We already know it's there. We've seen it in the past. We know it's there. And for some reason, there's just this absolute reluctance to sell it. And look, again, it's cut and paste it. But for me, the boardroom ambition is to be better than Rangers. And forever that's the case, they'll be happy. Whereas we as a support, we just want to be the best that Celtic can be, which we are neither now. We stockpiling money and clear weak spots in the team that I think we all agree need fixed in the majority. But the majority of the positions we would agree upon. But that is what it boils down to for me. They just want to be a nod ahead of Rangers at least, whereas we want to be the best possible version that we can be. And look, we've tried it before. We've seen it before with the Ronnie Dyler years, the downsizing when they weren't there. And look, you can say it wasn't done to that, but it happened. We lived through it. We've seen it. And then they come back, and obviously Rodgers comes in, and obviously the rest is history for there. But I mean, we've done it before. We've seen it the season where we've gone for the 10 in a row, and like you said earlier, the players getting kept that didn't want to be here, and it backfired fucking spectacularly. So you would have liked to have think they would learn. And look, I'm not going to say fucking Rangers are going to win this league this year, obviously no, but you would like to think they would have learned for the past, and it would have had a wee bit of change in mentality almost. Whereas we see the Champions League as an opportunity to test ourselves and hopefully improve. Look, as I said before, nobody's wanting to get into the semi-finals or quarter-finals, but look, if we can, especially with this new format, if we can get through the group stage or the league stage and get into the last 16, then fair enough. If we can go into it and just put up a fight, as I say, don't come out of games after getting bet and say that we're competitive. Let's start taking be as good as we can be. And that's basically all I want. But for as long as it seems to be the way it is now, the Champions League at boardroom level is just money in the bank, be it through obviously qualifying and then through ticket sales and tap it as well. So I think that's the mentality switch that has to happen.
Yeah, the mentality switch we've been asking for years and years. But look, world-class basics, eh? Before we finish up on the new Champions League format, we're going to do whoever laughs first loses. You two were doing my head in last time we done this. You were all being all serious.
Because we were good at the game.
No, it's not that. It's not. You were being wee arseholes. None of you even smirked, and it was quite annoying because some of them jokes were actually quite funny, right? The first one. What did Woody Allen's wife say at his funeral? He was a great husband and father.
I didn't even get that.
No.
You don't get Woody Allen. He married his stepdaughter.
Did
he? You laughing?
Because I didn't know that he'd married his stepdaughter.
Right. By the way,
I laugh at the joke.
Right. Okay. I bought a Christmas tree today. The guy asked me if I was going to put it up myself. I said no. I'll probably put it in the living room.
I'll put it in the living room.
Right, next one. You, James, I hate you. Little James, you prick. Right. Why can't Stevie Wonder see his friends?
Because he's blind.
That can't be the joke, surely.
No, it's because he's married. He does the wee dick. He does the wee dick. Right. What has 2 wings and 1 arrow?
I love that James is trying to work it out.
A Chinese telephone, wing wang arrow. Right. Okay. Right. Hold on. I told the girl, "You look great without glasses." She said, "But I don't wear glasses." I replied, while polishing my lenses, "Yeah, but I do." No.
It's fucking fairly right. Christmas cracker, man.
Right, hold on a wee second. Right, you know what, Liz? Here we go. I left out the wee skew whiff ones, right? I've dedicated my life to find my wife's murderer. If you can recommend someone, let me know.
Oh,
no. Right. Last one. My wife asked me to please quit singing Wonderwall in the shower. I said maybe.
Need to buy better crackers for next week.
That's fine. Again, none of you laughed, but we'll take it. We'll take it from there, right? And as the tagline says, Franny, new Champions League format. Where will Celtic fit in? Rodgers said he wants the playoffs. Are Celtic equipped for the playoffs at the minute?
Well, no, they're not equipped for the playoffs at the minute. But I think there's a good chance to try to get in that. If they back him. I mean, we've seen what he can do with this team last season. And obviously he's now had a proper pre-season under them again to really put forward his ideas and stuff. And obviously pre-season was good and we started the season well. So it just goes back to the transfers. Just back him, give him the best tools available. We said that last season, tool the manager up to have a crack at Europe. Like we said, like James said, we're not expecting to be going deep in the Champions League, but just get a wee bit of credibility back within Europe. Just, I know we've not went like in the knockout phases. There's only Martin O'Neill obviously never done it. Lennon done it. Strachan done it twice. Did Rodgers do it? I can't remember if Rodgers done it first time round. I can't remember if he got out of group stage or no. I'm not sure.
What was that? Sorry, into the last 16?
Did Rodgers get out the Champions League?
No, Lennon twice and Strachan once. No, Strachan twice and Lennon
Strachan twice and Lennon once. So it's not necessarily something we're renowned for doing, but certainly picking up results at home in Europe is something we were. Well, now I know football has moved on massively and stuff and sometimes, but then just try and I think Brendan Rodgers' way, if you tool him up, can get us a bit of credibility back within Europe. I mean, I've just seen big Rabbi Nids coming back up. I mean, I grew up in the 90s watching Celtic as well. It was horrible, and either that last 25 years has been great, but I hate that argument saying I used to grow up in the 90s. We all just want the best for Celtic at the end of the day. Wanting us to spend X, Y, and Z in a player isn't entitlement or anything like that. It's no forgetting what some of us watched in the 90s. It's just wanting, as James has said it plenty of times, want the best version of Celtic at the end of the day. And if that's entitlement, then I think a lot is entitled then. But the Champions League format, just give Rodgers the tools, man. Tool him up to as best as we can to give him a fair crack at it.
Yeah. And I think that's every sentiment. Like you said, every argument comes back to the transfer window. Every question leads back to the transfer window. Every opinion, James, leads back to the transfer window. But Rodgers did say in his interview before I think the season started, he wants to aim for the playoffs. He wants the domestic treble, obviously missing out on the League Cup last year. But eyes on Europe, as you said, the new Champions League format. You've mentioned it quite a bit tonight. I think it's 32 teams, isn't it? The first 8 are through. 8 to 24th is in a playoff, and then anything below that is out of Europe altogether. Realistically, at the moment, where do you think we are? What do you think we need to do? What's the steps in this new Champions League format?
Just now, you would have to say we're doing it the bottom. As we said, like, in terms of Schmeichel potentially is an upgrade on Hart. Let's not forget Hart was probably, if not our best or second best player the second half of last season. But at the moment would definitely be down near the bottom. That could change. But it could hopefully be sitting here at the end of August feeling confident getting into it, but we've seen it. We've seen it last year with literally these exact players. The only one that's different is a goalie, and they were competitive as fuck, but they didn't make a dent in the group. We were out with a game to go. No, we were out with 2 games to go, weren't we? Was it 2 games to go?
Yeah,
anyway,
2 games to go, yeah.
Was it 2 games? Aye, we were out with 2 games to go, so you can be competitive as you want, but points make prizes. I'd rather get absolutely scudded for 90 minutes and take a nothing each, or sneak a 1-0 instead of playing teams off the park and getting bets. So that team as it stands now, look, as I say, we've seen it last year, so no, they're not prepared for it, but we still have time to change that, and I don't think we will.
What a nice note at the end of the season's Double Pivot podcast. But Franny, have you enjoyed it?
Aye, that was good. That was quite abrupt, Stephen.
Wasn't it abrupt?
Quiz. I mean, the schedule said you were doing a quiz.
I did say I was doing a quiz, didn't it? Shit.
I mean, you did do one if you didn't want. If there's as good as
you get one. I get one. I get one. No problem. I get one. If you want to elaborate what James is saying there for a couple of wee seconds while I find the quiz, that's no problem at all.
But just repeat what I said. As soon as you asked me first.
In terms of the format, do you like the new Champions League phase?
You rapper music.
Do you like the PlayStation? I like the PlayStation. Oh, fuck me.
I mean, it's still obviously geared up to the bigger teams, if you like, the big 5 leagues, and for me, it's a wee bit of the European League and a different guise, the European Super League and a different guise. See
this kind of restructure.
Keep it going. Keep it going.
I genuinely haven't really properly looked into it yet. Will there still be a draw? Because I know you're playing 8 games, but you're in a group of, you're in a league of 32 teams. So are they going to need to do a draw for each individual team? Do you know what I mean?
Because surely you'll still be seeded and things like that. So
apparently they're still doing the pots, so it'll still be.
Like it's not Group 8. It's not Group 8, and it's like Liverpool, Man City, Real Madrid, Barcelona on the one group, and that'll be.
Aye, but then
I think is it 8 different? 7 different games you'll play, or 8 different teams you'll play.
Aye, so it's 8 different teams, 4 here and 4 away. But so I think it's you play a certain amount. I want to say it's 3 teams for pot 1, but I could be wrong. But if, for instance, if Real Madrid are in pot 1, then they wouldn't play the same teams that we would have to play, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? So they would need to draw each individual team for games. I don't know how it will work.
I'd maybe
the draw will probably start in August and fucking run to Christmas.
Aye, because even how it was recently,
it
lasted about 2 hours.
Got a quiz.
God.
Someone said, Strange Love, the doctor said, we'll do a movie quiz. We'll do a movie quiz tonight. So,
Jesus.
Oh, dear.
Right, we'll do first the 10, okay? There's like 250 questions here, but, So, question 1, and in the comments as well, people get involved. Franny, James, off. Right.
Yeah? What? Oh, yeah.
Comments. He was like, we're done? What? Thank fuck. Right. What film was released in 2021 and was directed by Denis Villeneuve?
Pass.
James?
2 seconds, mate.
Mate, get off Google.
Was it June?
You're a prick. Why did you do that? Why did you do that?
No, I honest to God didn't Google that. Did it look like I Googled it?
Yeah, it did.
No.
There's your Mazin. Tony Daly was Showgirls. Showgirls too. I don't know about that. Right, so 1-0 to Little James.
Are you giving me that?
Jesus.
Question 2. Who directed the 2023 film Poor Things?
What?
James, I'm serious, right? James, I'm fucking serious. Get off Google. Get off it.
I'm absolutely not Googling it, mate.
If you do it, the quiz is done. Do not Google an answer.
I have no idea.
I think it was a kind of Greek name. It's in the tip of my tongue. Was it? Oh, jeez. Was it? It wasn't Yorgos Lanthimos by any chance, was it?
It was, in fact, you're a bit of a prick. Stop Googling the fucking answers. How about that? Still 1-0 to James, right? Don't be Googling. See if you Google anything else, I'll Franny take. Stop it. Right, first attempt. What film is a biopic of the Von Erich family released in 2023?
Fuck, I didn't know that one.
Well done.
It was the Wrestlers. I can't remember the name of it.
Franny's gone.
I'm trying to think.
It should be a pretty. I knew.
What was the question again?
So, what film is a biopic of the Von Erich family released in 2023?
Von Erich.
James, you're on mute, buddy. I can't hear you. Please get off Google as well. You can see your wee hand going side to top over there.
Keyboard going like that.
I was asking Alexa, but she didn't know.
I can't. Googling. Guess it's not Googling.
I can't remember the name of it. It was about the wrestler film. I actually think I've seen it, but I can't remember the name of it. It was about the wrestler.
It was the Iron Claw.
Aye.
Right. Question 4. It's still 1-0 to James. Who won the Academy Award for Best Actor for his role in the film There Will Be Blood? I thought you would have known films. Like, he's not like films or something.
I'm shite with films.
Watch films.
No, nothing.
Nah.
Anything?
Denzel Washington.
What?
Well, there's a chance he was in it. I mean, he's in
it. That's not really a film, is it?
Was it Matt Costello?
I thought he wanted an actor. Oh, right. There you go. Well, by chance.
No, it wasn't. Question 5. Still 1-0 to James.
So you want to go to 10?
Which English club was the first to win the European Cup in 1968?
Titanic.
Man United.
1 each. Question 6. Is it 6?
Class.
Who is the all-time top scorer for the German national team?
Bruce Willis.
Love your commitment, James. I love it.
2-1 to Fran. No, that's 1st to 5 because James has been wee little James needs his bail. He's been a prick, right? Who is the youngest player ever to score in a World Cup tournament?
The youngest?
Yeah.
Really?
Nope.
I'll go Denzel Washington.
It was Pele. Yeah, got it. Pale? No, mate, he wasn't Pale. Pele.
Jesus, Stephen.
Oh, wait, no, I didn't mean like that. I meant his name wasn't Pale, it was Pele. Fuck's sake. Question 7. Still 2-1 to Fanny. Which club did Jurgen Klopp manage before joining Liverpool?
I just want to get what James is going to say.
Borussia Dortmund, mate.
Oh, damn.
Good man, James. 3-2, 3-2. Next question. Which player holds the record for the most goals in a single Premier League season?
Harry Kane.
Yep. James, I will fucking go over there and rip that computer away from you. Come on, man.
I swear to God, I'm no good. I can't even remember what the question was, to be honest. What was the question?
Most goals in a Premier League season.
He's hilarious, this fella, isn't he?
No, look at that.
Santiago Munez.
There you go.
Erling Haaland.
Newcastle too.
Still 3-2, right? Franny, please get some of these, mate. Come on.
How's it 3-2? Is it 2-2? Is it?
Right, I'm going to stop it because I'm annoying myself now.
Right. Which country hosted the 1982 FIFA World Cup?
Mexico?
Nope.
Oh.
'82.
Tommy Twist has it. Good shout, Tommy. James Kennedy has it.
I was going to say Mexico, but as well, it's either
Strange Love has it.
Was 82 Spain?
Spain it was. 3 each.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's see.
92. Well, there wouldn't have been 92.
What was Mexico then?
Must have been
a country?
90 or 88 or something.
So, in what year did the UEFA Cup change its name to the UEFA Europa League?
The 2015?
Nope. James? Mexico was 86, and the comments are saying it was 86.
2000. 2016?
2009.
Oh, that's earlier than I thought.
Yeah, it is. It actually caught me by surprise, to be fair, and I'm reading the questions. Holy shit. Right. Which player was known as the Divine Ponytail?
Roberto Baggio.
4-3. If he gets it, he wins it here. Which club has the most FA Cup titles?
Arsenal.
4 each. Oh, it's just a decider here. Oh, yeah, boy. Right. Now we're heating up. Now we're cooking. Right. Who is the only goalkeeper to have won the Ballon d'Or?
Lev Yashin.
James gets it. 5-4. Lev Yashin. Yeah. Funny, the next answer on this list was Rangers, and that was for 15. What was 15? Which club has won the most Scottish Premiership titles? Dicks. But look,
I'm not questioning all that. I'm questioning that fucking validate. I can't shut up.
That was almost as bad as my intro of the day. I was trying to say fair dues, and I was like fair dues. But no, lads, we did a wee impromptu quiz there. Obviously, it was a biggest sort of shite, but we better crack. James was going to be prick, you know, but it's fine. It's fine. What, did you enjoy the double pivot at least?
Ah, it was a good laugh, mate. Good laugh. Always is.
I enjoyed it.
Thank God. You spoke there. You were just going. No problem. But look, everyone. He's going to mute his mic and get the camera off. But everyone in the comments, we'll be back again Friday looking towards the game at Easter Road against Hibs. And until then, everyone, stay well, keep safe. Hail, hail.